Hi guys, so for today's lesson we're going to be dealing with horizontal and vertical lines on the Cartesian plane or the number plane. So first up, what I mean by a horizontal line, so it's pretty much just a flat line, flat lines which are parallel to the x-axis. They have the equation form y equals a, where a is the y-intercept. A is a random number, which you can tell, and you can tell what it is because it's the same as where it hits the y-axis, where it intercepts that y-axis. Okay, so have a look at these lines here. Notice that they're parallel to the x-axis, and they have the equation y equals something or other, some sort of number. And you can see that this line has the equation y equals 3, because have a look at its y-intercept. It hits it at the number 3. The same thing applies for this y equals minus 1. It has a y-intercept of negative 1. So that's why it has that sort of equation. So just all you have to remember is that horizontal lines are y equals something, where that something is the y-intercept. Vertical lines, very similar. So they're upright lines which are parallel to the y-axis. They have the equation form x equals a, where a is the x-intercept. So for example, these two vertical lines, they're parallel to the y-axis. And it's always x equals something. And we know what something it is because it hits the x-axis at that number. So this line hits the x-axis at 3, so therefore it's x equals 3. Same thing applies for x equals minus 4. It hits it at minus 4, so therefore its equation is x equals minus 4. As simple as that. Let's do some example questions. So what is the equation for the y-axis? So the y-axis is this vertical line right here. So it's a vertical line with the x-intercept of 0. You can see here that this line comes and hits the x-axis at this 0 number right here. So therefore, the equation for this for the y-axis here that I've highlighted, it's the equation x equals 0. Because it hits it at 0, and vertical lines have the equation x equals something. So it has to be where it hits the x-axis, it hits it at 0. So x equals 0. Next one, what is the equation for the x-axis? So this is a horizontal line, and it hits the y-axis at 0. So therefore, it has the equation y equals 0. You just got to think all horizontal lines are y equals something. And you've got to think, where does it hit the y-axis? Well, it hits it at 0, so you've got your equation right there. I know it's weird that the x-axis has this sort of equation, but that is the case. It's something that, yeah, you just can't let that sort of thing trick you up. Question 3, this is a more typical sort of question. So what is the equation of the line that is parallel to the x-axis and goes through the point 3 minus 2. So obviously a diagram will help you a lot if you're having trouble with this sort of thing. So we know our line has to be parallel to the x-axis, so it's going to be a flat line. And it has to go through this point negative 3, negative 2. Sorry, I should have put a negative right there. Okay, so we know it goes through this point. Sorry, I was wrong. I'm wrong again. That should be positive. That should be positive. My bad. I'll just fix that one up. So that's the point 3, negative 2. Okay, so we know it goes through this point right here, 3, negative 2. And we know it has to be a flat line that's parallel to the x-axis. So flat horizontal lines, they intercept the y-axis at negative 2 here. So we know that our equation has to be y equals negative 2. A good way to remember this is just to think, what sort of number is it passing through? It's passing through negative 2 on the y-axis. So there's our equation. Hope this helps. Good luck with your answers.